Hi, my name is Risty, and I'm here today to talk to you about communication. Now, my desire is to help people, to help you, by listening and supporting you in a counseling or coaching session. Now, my desire is to help you learn to listen, to help you process your life, and to help you grow deeper relationships. And that all involves communication. Communication is understanding our chances to understand others and others understanding us. Now, before I go on, just so you know, there is a PowerPoint that is partnered with this video, so feel free to contact me and download it. So first we're going to talk about who I am, what is interpersonal communication, resources and strategies, and to end it off with multicultural communication. So a bit about me. My name is Aristida Meyer. I'm known as Risty. It is right in the middle of Aristida. I've been married for 17 years. I have 3 sons. My husband and I have been in various church ministries throughout our life over the last 20 plus years. Originally, I'm from Phoenix, Arizona, and currently I live in the United Arab Emirates, where I teach kindergarten. And with this global society, there's a lot of communication that takes place with listening and talking. Now, my mission in life, my mission is to be one who guides, teaches, and influences individuals to continually learn, to grow inwardly and personally, and to outwardly succeed in their goals and desires as they engage with others. And that's where that communication piece comes in, of listening and talking. Now let's get to the next slide. What is interpersonal communication? Well, interpersonal communication, as you can see there, is relating to others and building a relationship through sharing information and connecting with others that is productive, either in business or developing a friendship or even maintaining an intimate relationship. Now for me, as you can see on the slide, the DISC profile. I took the DISC profile to learn a little bit about me and how I interact with others. Now it's broken up into 4 different sections, the DISC, as you can read on the screen. Now 85% of people tend to be composite of those 4. You're high in some, low in others. So we're blends and combinations, and that's what makes us unique, and that's why speaking and listening and talking is such a huge part. Now, for me, professionally, I'm an SC, which leads, as you can see, I'm more inclined to do things like steady, dependable, flexible, adaptable. Now, personally, I'm an CIS, which is Competent Influencing Specialist. As you can see on the slide here, it says that I'm what I incline to be. Now, the things I'm not inclined to be, one of the things is clowning or animated. Now in this video you may see a little different side of that because I'm in the comfort, there's really no one there, but when you meet me, which I hope we do meet, I would be a little bit more steady and reserved and definitely listening, flexible. And in this society of multicultural, flexibility and adaptability is key, especially when communication is involved. On the next slide, you will see a summary of my biggest challenges, which this was a great reflection to me. And I'd like to sum all of these up into 5 things. Pride, because I want to know it all. Passive, sometimes I don't like to make decisions. Because of that, goes into that lack of confidence. Being a fixer, I like to fix people, which in some instances, most people just need listening. And if that's what you need, I'm here for you. And sometimes I ask too many questions. I have been called an interrogator at times. So these are things that I'm working through. Now as we move on, communication. So there are some resources and strategies I'd like to get to. So as you go to the next slide, the 2 top things is listening and self-awareness and awareness of others. These are the 2 things in my heart I believe involve in communication. Now here, as you go to the next slide, the next 4 slides are going to include some resources. The first one, we're going to start with listening techniques. This book, Why Don't We Listen Better by Peterson, has a plethora of techniques that you can use. 5 techniques that I thought were extremely helpful currently is acknowledging the person when you're listening. You know, looking at them, giving them that eye contact, showing them that you are actively listening to them. The hem and haw. You know, as you're listening, you go, that's a helpful thing. Admitting ignorance. And just when they're telling a story, going, oh, I didn't know. Or numbering feelings that you can say, well, how does that make you feel on a scale of 1 to 10? And that gives you a good idea of where they're at. Or allowing space, which is that silence. The next slide shows the nonverbal communication that goes through all of this listening and talking aspect. It's continuous, collaborative, and complex. It is always happening, and we're always watching it, and people, that is what they look for. It includes the eye contact, the relationship messages, as well as, silence is important. Going into that, we go into the next slide of inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling is the listening of perception of what that person is doing. Are you being the person? Are you inferring to what they're saying? Are you listening to them? Are you judging them? Are you avoiding overload and your brain's going somewhere else because they're saying too much? Are you being mindful and empathetic? Now, the exhaling is what you do, the talking out, the disclosing of yourself. Are you speaking for yourself? Are you sharing clearly? Next, on to that exhaling is a tool here, the talker-listener card. So in the next slide, this is a tool for that effective communication. One person has one side of the card facing them, reminding them what to do or what not to do, such as the talker. They're not to attack, they're not to judge, they are to just share their feelings. And then the listener on the other side of the card, they're not to disagree or defend, they are to provide safety and understanding. Next thing is change. We desire people to change. We want people to change. But there are so many steps. Now, if you look at this progression on the PowerPoint slide here, you can see the progression of going to change, and it is time. It says often people resist change because they are uncertain as to the results they get. And honestly, time. And I would love to be part with you and have this relationship with you and helping you understand time. Change takes time. Moving along on our next slide, multicultural communication. In the UAE, I am in a globalized society. With globalization, communicating with those who in a multicultural, multilingual, multicultural national are exponentially growing, testing our abilities to interact meaningfully with individuals. That is communication. Along with this is not just in the UAE, but Pomeroy and Nautica say in the States over the past 2 decades, the boundaries have expanded to ever-widening multinational community of children, individuals, and families. That means we need to broaden our awareness of multilingualism in our communities, which includes linguistics, dialects, and accents. And I also want to provide a safe environment to build a strong relationship to bring that understanding. Another thing is, as you see on the slide, individuals from various backgrounds still view and interpret reality through their linguistic and cultural filters, even if all are speaking English. In the US, most are speaking through English, but they have that cultural background. They have that cultural piece to them. And same here in the UAE. Rabazani says that the influence of culture on the way people interact, communicate, and interpret their reality. Now, there is little agreement on the definition of culture. There is a definition, but it's a little shaky at times. But a great definition is, it is an imperfect shared system of interrelated understanding. It is shaped by the members of the shared history and experiences within the culture. The individuals are rarely conscious of their culture, yet culture affects practically all the aspects of the way the people of the group interact with each other and outsiders. All from Rabazani. Also, this means we need an adaptation based on the understanding of cultural differences and creating barriers to communication. And there's also that misinterpretation and conflicts. My desire is to help you learn how to dialogue, to build this barrier, this conflict. What is dialogue? It's heart-to-heart conversation. It's deferring beliefs or perspectives coming together. It's a softening of hearts. It's an opening of hearts. It's to build relationship by that listening and speaking. Because we're in a multicultural world, a globalized world. So how do we do that? We do that by being individuals who choose to listen and who are listened to with care. We choose to speak and are spoken to with respect. We share airtime. It's not just me talking, it's someone else. We learn from each other and we reflect on our own views. Lastly, I want to thank you. I hope to meet you one day in a counseling or coaching session, and I want to help you with these skills on how to listen and speak more effectively. Lastly, I leave you with this quote. By listening well, I understand that it goes to work on the insides by reducing emotional disturbance, clarifying thinking, increasing self-confidence, and building supportive friendships. This helps us stand up taller, function better, and improve our relationships. Have a good day.